Peace and Black Power family. Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother Agyei Tyehimba. I just want to take a few moments to welcome you to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School was started in 2016 by myself and my queen, and we basically saw that there was a lack of foundational Black political education going on in Harlem. We're not going to get up from under white supremacy without knowing how oppression works, how it affects and impacts on our community, the ways in which we internalize our own oppression and engage in self-defeating behavior and thinking, and our socio-political movements and our very important individuals and organizations throughout our history who played a leading role in fighting against and resisting and disrupting white supremacy. So Harlem Liberation School was founded as a Black political education center for adults. Because education is not just relegated to children. Adults need education. It's those of us adults who maybe when we were kids did not get that foundational Africana studies of Black political education. The things we need to know to be free and to fight effectively for our liberation. And so that's what we're here to do. We hope that you will come through, check us out, look at our videos, like them, comment on them, and share them. Peace and Black Power. Peace and Black Power family. Harlem educator, author, and activist. The Black Liberation Coach, Brother Agyei Tyehimba. You know, I'm filming live on location in that wonderful historical and political village of Harlem, New York City. Family, it has been a beautiful day thus far. Of course, I'm biased. I tend to believe every day I wake up is a beautiful day, regardless of the weather conditions. And hopefully some of you watching will see it that way too. That sort of gratitude attitude will help you reach high altitudes in life. It will help you push past things that get other people stuck and set them back. If you can see that, if you can count your blessings, and it don't have to always be these grandiose blessings, but real basic stuff like you're alive, like you have a few people on this planet who understand you, who love you, who support you, like your work is appreciated, like you're able to work, you're able to read, to study, to observe, to go places. These are things we take for granted. And I suggest that when we get a gratitude attitude, it will definitely position us, set us up to win rather than setting us up to fail and to lose. Family, I hope everyone's at peace while preparing to war, because we're being warred against. Us denying it does not negate the fact that we're at war, right? Just because we don't believe something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure the people watching this channel are clear on that, though. We're going to be very brief today. I want to get into a Black Power sermon that has to do with something that I'm sure, if we're honest, we're all familiar with, all too familiar with, from one angle or the other, and that is shame. What I wanted to address is this idea of properly understanding and properly utilizing shame. And to do that, I want to kind of bring in a PowerPoint that I've done to make sure that we are clear. You will not see me, but you will hear me during the course of this. Understanding the concept of shame. I do see some comments. We got Queen B is in the building. Brenda Hilaire, she's letting y'all know, she's giving you greetings. She's reminding you to, if you're joining us, please watch the content, enjoy the content, share the content, and click the subscribe button. We thank the Queen for that. And we got, oh man, this is my sister from Syracuse University days, Sister Lori Smith Britton. She's, I believe that her sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, just had a big anniversary. So I want to salute you on that, my sister. Keep doing that good work. She's saying, she's referring to me as her Syracuse University SAS president, still spitting knowledge. By the grace of God, Sister Lori, I'm still on the planet, still doing it, sister. I'm very grateful for the ability to still do it. Thank you for that. Michael Ray is in the building. I believe, speaking of fraternities and sororities, I believe Michael Ray is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. I don't think he attended Syracuse, but he knows a lot of good brothers, man, that I went to school with on the Syracuse University campus. I salute Brother Michael Ray. I hope that he still has his Black-owned restaurant percolating in Brooklyn. And if it is still open, Michael Ray, I hope I still have an open invitation to come bring my queen and have a meal there one of these days soon in Brooklyn. I hope that is the case. All right. So family, let's get started. We're talking about shame. You're going to notice this year going forward, I'm going to be making somewhat of a shift in let me move this for a quick second. I'm going to be making somewhat of a shift in some of my content. I'm always going to kick that black nationalism, that black power, that pan-Africanism always. But you're going to notice a slight shift. I'm going to be talking a lot more about some of our issues and pushing through those issues, understanding them properly and pushing through them. Because we can't have a well-functioning nation if full of petty, low frequency, infighting, jealous, insecure people, family. So as we fight white supremacy and we fight police brutality and we fight mass incarceration and we fight labor exploitation, we have to fight our things in ourselves, the demons that have been inculcated in our minds that get in our way, that make us self-defeating. We have to. There's no way you can separate, oh, we're going to fight white supremacy, fight for black power, and we're not reading, right? We're not getting knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We're treating each other mean and ugly. So we got to deal with both. And this is not an either or. This is not, we do this for 40 years, then we do the other. No, we lift as we climb. We do these simultaneously, right? So that's what we're talking about, family. I'm going to be moving very much in that direction while still giving you what I believe are life-sustaining tips and perspectives concerning black power and black nationalism, because we got to do for self. We are all we got, and we are our own best friends. I know some of us got friends with all types of people, and that's fine. Who am I to judge? But I'm going to tell you at the end of the day, when you look in your communities, you're going to see people are organizing themselves according to racial and ethnic lines. And if we're not doing that, we're going to find ourselves in a great, great disadvantage. We'll be so far behind, family, that it will be almost impossible to recover. And we can avoid that, right? All right. Let us go now to talking about our subject at hand of shame. First of all, let's give it some context. What is shame? Right? So if you look at it, it's two ways to look at shame. One is as a noun and one is as a verb. As a noun, we might say that shame is this painful feeling of humiliation or distress, and it's caused by the consciousness that a person is engaging in wrong or foolish behavior. Now, if we're all honest, we have all felt some shame, and that's okay. It's okay. Anyone who tells you they never felt ashamed or shame is blatantly lying. We know that's a fact. And if there is anyone who can honestly say, I never felt shame, now we have to question, are you human? Maybe you're an android or artificial intelligence masquerading as a human. But human beings all feel shame, family. And I find in my studies and observation and lived experience that the most empowered human beings are those that will readily admit it with no hesitation. I felt shame. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing let's get into. The traditional notion of shame has been, and I hope to challenge this, has been shame is negative, is ugly and embarrassing, that only the worst people in our community, the so-called bad people, only the backwards people, if you're Christian, the backsliders, right? If you're Muslim, the infidels or non-believers, only the people at the bottom of the heap, the bottom of the pile, feel shame. This only occurs to such people, right? I want to challenge that notion. I disagree with it, and that's not true. But more importantly, I want us to understand that if we look at shame in the traditional way, we've been taught in our spiritual centers, in our homes, in our communities and organizations, that way of looking at shame will only lead, ultimately, to self-pity, depression, and I might add, demoralization. In other words, if shame only occurs to bad, quote-unquote, people, to backsliders, to the worst of us, then one who feels it will inevitably feel, I must be one of those quote unquote bad, incorrigible, unsavable, backwards people. That type of view of shame, that framework will lead you inevitably and ultimately to a deep self pity and depression, right? Okay, now, I think we're all clear on that now. Now there's an empowering way to view shame, and that's what I want to challenge us to get to, right? Because I haven't heard anyone address this publicly, so I don't claim to be the first one to observe it or the first one to present on it, but I've never heard anyone address it this way, right? Let's look at an empowering view of shame, a framework of looking at our shame that leaves us in a better place rather than a lower and a worse place. Let's think about what we get from when we feel ashamed, right? Let's say that we're doing poorly in our relationship. Let's say someone is being guilty of infidelity. Let's say that somebody's abusing their little kids. Let's say physically or emotionally. Let's say that we stealing from a corner store. Let's say that we are not doing our best work on our job. That we're taking time, we're stealing time when we're supposed to be working. We shopping on the internet or whatever we're doing does not work, but yet we're still getting paid, and we're ashamed of it. Shame identifies areas in our lives where we're living beneath our potential or our expectations of ourselves. We know we were taught better than this. We know that we have the potential to be more productive. We know that we have the potential to be more character and purpose driven. But for whatever reason, our lower selves have taken over. Our laziness has taken over. Our tendency to take the easy way out, to not listen to others, to be arrogant, or in some way to hurt others has taken over, right? Shame identifies those areas where we need to really clean some things up in our lives and get our character right. It also shows us potential areas where we can improve, which is closely related to the first point I made. But here's the big thing. Unlike the traditional negative view of shame, when you look at shame in a more empowering way, when you look at it as it's something that every human being has felt, and every human being will continue to feel. But as we get older and wiser, hopefully, those feelings will get less and less and less because we live in alignment with our true selves. We're not fronting, we're not faking, we're not hiding from us, we're not trying to be perfect. We're in living in truth and honesty, and we understand that we fall sometimes. We're not perfect, so we don't look at it in a negative way. Here's what it does. That way of looking at shame ultimately motivates us to be better and to do better. That's the key, family. That's the key for me. So, for instance, if I know, oh man, I'm writing this book, it's supposed to be helping black people, it's supposed to be pointing them to what I believe is a better way, and I'm shucking and jiving, I'm not giving my best effort. I'm not giving it the 3 to 4 hours every day that it requires to do the best work. I haven't done any research. I haven't done any serious self-reflection to put things in context. I haven't outlined the book. I'm just sitting at the computer, just typing it. And I said, Dad, I know I could do better than that. Right? I had the blessings and privileges to go to these different institutions of higher learning. And that's the best I can do. That's not good enough. I was raised to give my best. I feel ashamed, right? But in this context, I don't wallow in self pity. I don't get more depressed and therefore and do worse and worse work. I say I could do better, brother Agyei. You got to do better. You know what your names mean. They have meanings. You are violating your names. You are bringing dishonor to your ancestors and to your family who raised you much better than that. And you're bringing dishonor and disappointment to all those African and new African professors and mentors you had all your life who were trying to school you properly in hopes that you would bring the truth they were bringing to you to the larger community. So instead of me wallowing in shame and doing worse, I say, all right, I better get it together. I dust myself off, I get myself up, and I get right. Right? It motivates you to be better and do better. That's how I want us to look at shame. That it's not about hurt. It's not about imprisoning ourselves in pain. It's not about trying to hold people ransom, yourself or others, through you know you're supposed to do better. Now here's the other thing that's important, and I hope I'm not going too fast. This is the mistake that we make as a community from what I've seen. And today, as much as I'm critical of this generation of young people, and you are too, I'm sure, we got to give them this. They are ahead of us in some areas. When I grew up, if somebody had high water pants, their pants were too tight, their blouses, the buttons was getting ready to pop, or they didn't have the latest earrings or clothing, we made fun of them. We teased them terribly. If a person was overweight, if a person, whatever, were too short, too tall, too dark, too light, in our kind of warped opinion, we teased them. We shamed people. Michael Ray is bearing witness. He says, yes, we did. You right. He know what I'm talking about. We shamed people. We made people feel bad about things they had no control over. And some of us, all of us probably got teased. Some of us were able to come out of that and not be bitter. Some people, family, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, still feeling ugly and less than because of the immense teasing they got as little children. That pain has never gone away. And now they're overcompensating. They're doing all these other things as a result of feeling like they weren't enough, feeling unworthy, right? One of the things that we do in our community, and we have to stop, is that we use the verb form of shame. In other words, we shame other people. What does that mean? Shaming is a verb. It means it's the act or activity of subjecting someone to shame, disgrace, humiliation, right? Or disrepute, especially by public exposure or criticism, right? That's shaming. This generation, to their credit, are very evolved on this question. They say, look, don't tease people, don't body shame people, right? People got a big head, people have a big stomach, or their body doesn't seem proportional to you. That's not your concern, but you're not supposed to be out here making fun of people, right? That they're very evolved in a way that we were very backwards. I will honestly say my generation was backwards on that. We would make fun of you. I don't give a damn. Your mama, your papa, your grandma, your uncles, your clothes, everything. Your book bag if it was raggedy. And so shaming is wrong to me. Here's the thing. Shame is an internal, intimate, and individual issue. That is to say that I should feel shame about my own actions, my own low frequency thoughts, the ugly ways I'm viewing somebody or treating someone, or my failure to live up to my highest self. I'm just getting by. I'm being mediocre when I have the ability to be excellent. I'm giving something 1 hour that deserves 3. I'm stopping when I know I need to keep going. I'm not done yet. Or I'm going on and on and on. I need to chill for a minute. Or I'm just rushing through something when I need to be patient. Whatever it is. Shame is something that the individual feels for themselves. It's the noun, right? That becomes ugly and detrimental to our people when we take it on ourselves as institutions, places of worship, particularly educational places, particularly homes, especially when we take it on ourselves to try to shame other people. Because when you shame someone else, what you're really participating in is demoralization, insult, and if we can be honest, you're being judgmental. If we can be honest, when we were shaming people, it wasn't just that we would say, "Hey, you gonna that's how you gonna go out? That's what you." We're subliminally making a judgment call of people, right? We're making their behavior and who they are intrinsically one and the same, and you can't do that, family. And we write people off. That's being judgmental, right? And when we do that as a community, and if we can be honest, family, we gotta be honest. We do this all the time. We make people feel bad. They go to church. They coming in some jeans and some old beat up sneakers, and you coming in a nice dress and a 3-piece suit. the traditional way you go to church, and we're making fun of the people who don't dress the way we expect them to dress. Right? That's what you wear in church? That type of thing. Or some people would just flat out say, you should be ashamed of yourself, right? And I just want to submit, shame is not something that should be externally conveyed. We're not here to shame anyone, but each individual is supposed to have the ability to feel shame for themselves. But you're not supposed to be going around shaming people. When we do that, it is almost 9 times out of 10 demoralizing, judgmental. It's negative, it's hurtful, and it is not cool to hurt people, family. Period. Some of us say, oh, it's the truth. It's the truth. And I'm going to listen. There's ways to tell truth without hurting people. I'm going to give you a classic example that I'm going to get ready to go. When I was in undergrad at Syracuse University, I was in this HEOP program, and the assistant director of HEOP was a beautiful black woman named Betty Boozer. Miss Boozer, man, for whatever reason, she had her eye on me. You understand? She knew what I was doing. She knew it. And she would call me in the office. Quentin, that was my given name, my born name at the time. I hear that you running around with Dolores. I hear that you, I hear you in that SAS office all the time, talking politics and talking about Malcolm and protesting. That's great. But I need to know that you're in class, because that's what you're here to do. You can do those other things, Quentin, but you gotta make sure you handle your business in class. And if you're gonna be a campus leader, then you need to model for people, right, what leadership looks like. And leaders have to do their work. They don't just show up at the protest and debating on political issues. They're doing work behind the scenes. And since you're a college student, you are a student activist, not an activist student. Don't forget why you're here, right? And then finally one day she just said, we got our grades. And of course they were privy to our grades, the HEOP office. And she said to me, Quentin, can I speak to you? I said, yes, ma'am. How you doing, Ms. Boozer? She says, Quentin, so-and-so, I noticed is on the honor roll. So-and-so's on the honor roll. So-and-so got this commendation from the university. And she said, I'm not into comparing people and that type of thing, but I have to ask you an honest question, and please don't be offended. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, aren't you a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that people who are not smarter than you, because I know you are one of the smartest students I know. I've learned stuff from you, she said. But don't you feel funny that students who are not smarter than you are outperforming you in this university? Whoa. Family, I said, whoa. Because it was at that point, it's the way she brought it to me that forced me to look inside. Because what she's saying is, you should feel what? Shame. Not a beating yourself up, not a you don't amount to nothing, not a you're worthless shame, but you're smart. You went to all these great schools, you have all this background. You should be coming here getting 4.0s and 3.9s and 3.5s and nothing under 3.0. Period. If you're not doing that, you should feel funny about it, because it means you're not performing up to your potential. It means you're comfortable with mediocrity. It means you're comfortable with just getting by. And that is not the making of a leader. Woo, baby. Okay? So the way she brought it to me was firm, but it wasn't condescending. I knew it was coming from love. And it made me what? Go home and answer Miss Boozer. Yeah, I don't like that feeling. People I'm helping to tutor with their writing and this and that, getting better grades than me. No, there's a problem with that. And that was a turning point, because the next semester I got a 3.9. And the following semester I got a 3.5. But the point was, that was just the nudge I needed. But notice the way she did it. She didn't shame me. What she did was reminded me of who I was and what my potential was. And what she invited me to do was to look at that and say, are you cool with it? That's what she was at. Are you cool with that? So if you cool with that, I'm not saying nothing else. But if you're not cool with that, and she's kind of subliminally saying you shouldn't be cool with that because you're capable of so much more, and you're in a leadership position. Do you know that after that Miss Boozer conversation, it was like I not only got high grades, that then I won the New York State HEOP Student Activist Award for the every student in New York State family, to say that we're recognizing that you provide leadership, and unlike most students, you don't just go to school and get grades. I don't know that you're doing well in school, but unlike most students, you're also involved in leadership, which means what? That I had more on my plate. If you're a student leader, you got a lot on your plate, not just your tests and your papers, but you got meetings and things you got to do in the community as a student leader. So that little nudge was just what I needed. But if you can understand what I'm saying, my simple thing as I get ready to leave is simply that we're not here to hurt no other black man or woman or anyone. We're here to educate. We're here to help. We're here to heal ourselves and maybe help to heal others. We're here to redirect. We're here to instruct. We're here to mobilize and organize. We're here to edify and build. We're here to gently nudge. So if you think of this picture, I want you to look at this picture. Look at that picture. There's a person with their hand up and all those fingers pointing at him. How that's almost a violent. It's almost like those are guns shooting at this person. That's not what our job is to do. It's not the finger pointing. It's more of a plucking yourself. You ever pinch yourself or pluck yourself? Just a gentle thing. Nothing violent. Nothing to hurt you. Just to remind you, like, man, stop making excuses. Stop taking the easy way out. Stop seeking comfort over excellence. Like, for real, if you say this is what you're about, be about it. And be willing to go through stuff and understand that everything ain't going to be easy and cute and fun. Understand that if you're here for greatness and excellence, you are basically saying you're going to be uncomfortable. because comfort doesn't come if you're working hard, pushing past issues. You got legitimate reasons to give up and take these way out, and you refuse to do it. That's what makes you the man or woman that you're potential of being. Not through the comfortable moments, it's pushing past the discomfort, right? That's what makes you. It's jogging, it's being that marathon, and your lungs feel like they're ready to blow up, and you're ready to pass out, and you keep pushing. That's what makes you better. It's pushing the weight, and you've gone for a week or two or three, and your muscles are tired, and you're still pushing. Why? Because when you keep pushing through the pain, those muscles tear. But when those muscles are repaired, they're repaired with stronger, denser muscle tissue. That's how you get what we call muscles. Those are muscles that were weak, that you were tearing through this constant lifting of weights and exercise. But when it goes back stronger. That's just like our people. Yes, sir, Michael Ray. What I'm saying is you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now remember, this is only for those of you who want to be great. This is for those of you who want to be excellent. This is for those of you who want to be your highest self. You choose what you do with your life. If you're comfortable being mediocre, underperforming, and not bringing dishonor to your family or your ancestors, that's your choice. I'm done, like Ms. Boozer basically was saying to me. But if you know in your heart and mind that you was put here to do great things and have impact in your community, and that your parents, good, bad, or ugly, did their best, they gave you what they could with what they knew, and you had people in the community or in your educational institutions or spiritual institutions that were trying to push you and help you do better than they did, if that's who you are, then this message should really resonate with you. It's don't be ashamed of being ashamed. Instead, don't wallow in self-pity. Don't stay beating yourself up. Identify the areas where you need to step up. And understand that at any moment that you decide, you can you can rewrite the script anytime you decide. You don't have to stay where you are if where you are is a place that you find undesirable. You have the ability to move how you want to move and move to where you want to move when you change it right here. And then, of course, you change your mind about things, your mentality, and then, of course, your actions must follow that, right? That's the message for today, family. Okay, I'm going to see if there's any questions or comments. And if not, we are going to move on. I'm going to put some comments up that I may have missed. Queen Bee says shame should be motivating, not damaging oneself or others. That is absolutely right. It's not cool. See, we were brought up to say it was cool to hurt people if no. The only time it's cool to hurt somebody is if they're trying to hurt you. That's it. You shouldn't be going here finding it your business to make people feel low. Black people, that's the last thing we need. We have a whole society that has worked, put billions of dollars up, hundreds of years, thousands, depending on when you start your dating, that has worked to teach us we are nothing, have nothing, and can be nothing. That we are incorrigible, that we're a waste of time, we're worthless, that we shouldn't be educated. I can go in the history books and show you how people debated, should we educate the Negroes? No, we shouldn't educate them. They're just going to be our servants. And then some people say, no, we should educate them, but just to do what we want. I mean, think about that. And we internalized some of that. They said that you was dark, so you was ugly, even though they was chasing us in the slave shacks and raping sisters and brothers, right? They said we was ugly, and we internalized that, right? If you white, you are right. If you brown, stick around. If you yellow, you mellow. If you black, get back. That stuff we said to each other. We internalized it. And I'm saying that we can reverse that. We can reverse it, family. And not only can we should. We and our children, our communities and organizations deserve to have the best. And to have the best, you must be your best. Not the best, but your best. You must be your best. And when our little sisters and brothers come out here and they see men and women that know how to speak with authority and clarity and beauty, and people that know how to direct and lead with love in an ethical way. They see people that know how to build buildings and create all types of beauty in homes and beauty on movie screens and beauty in our communities. That fills them with pride and it shows them, hey, you're a reflection of me. I can do it, you can do it. But if we're surrounding them with people who are low frequency, that are not pushing themselves to be their best, that is what they have to emulate. So if we know we can do better, it's our responsibility to do better. Don't feel ashamed to be ashamed. Sister Lori says she needs me on MSNBC today. That's what's up. Sister Lori, thank you for that. Thank you. And the Queen Bee says, please share the message widely, and she thanks me for the lesson. Family, I thank you for watching. I'm going to let you go back. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. And remember, family, teach this to your people, though. Your kids especially. Don't be ashamed. If you feel ashamed, that's a good thing. Now, how are you going to use that sense of shame? Is it going to push you to study harder, to get more rest, to get your body in shape, right? Or is it just going to have you wallowing in self-pity and despair and actually do worse? That's what it's about. And also, those of you that think you got it all figured out, got it all working for you, which is a lie. Don't go around here making our people who already are beat up by this society more beat up. That's not what you're here to do. Don't demoralize the people. Give them inspiration and hope. When they tell you their story, say, man, yo, I remember I went through this. And I was beating myself up and I finally got right. And I'm doing 100 times better. And I'm working on this area of my life. That was that area, but now I'm working on another. That's what we do with the people, right? Show them how we're all connected. We're one and the same people. Just manifest it differently. With that said, family, thank you for listening. Peace and Black Power. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Peace.